Hello, and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Leaves.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hi, Dave.
Hello, and welcome to the World Team Trophy with our good friend, Ms. Tessa Virtue. She is all ready. She is all fabbed out thanks to our viewer, Ingrid, who has us so ready for the competition. I cannot wait.
Is that a cutout of Scott's head? Because they were all doing that in the Kiss.
That is, unfortunately, it doesn't actually fit in her finger. Mattel, can you please fix this? I don't know why the Tessa Virtue Barbie is inept in this way, but... And I
this is amazing.
I don't want to bend her hand. I mean, it's a beautiful finger,
Yeah, it's probably placed just so.
But also, Dorothy is in my other location, but so Tessa will also be playing the role of an American supporter. And I thought for a second, Dave, no, that's wrong. Tessa's Canadian. And then I thought, absolutely not. Tessa can sell anything on her Instagram. And I believe that she can support both Nathan Chen and Thank Canada at the same time. And I thought Tessa is a skilled enough product. Everything on that Instagram is a product advertisement. You make that money. And Tessa, there is no one who can deliver it with more sincerity. And of course, so Tessa did this, did an ad for Stella Artois. And I don't know what her headband situation was. So Ingrid made sure to have this on there because I was maybe traumatized by Tessa's headband.
It's very up to date. It's up to date.
And yet I also really want to go to this Italian restaurant in the small town of London, Ontario. I think it looked, it was called Garlic. I think it looked great.
Okay, see, it's working.
It's working. I'm thinking of Tessa constantly. I have a sincere love. And I am ready. So yes.
She just needs the flip side of that Scott cut out to have baby Scott, because that's also what they were doing for next time. Next
time. You listen. We saw Meryl and Charlie in diapers skating together. So
yeah, we didn't need the visual. Yeah,
a lot is happening this week, Jonathan. I mean. Tell me, what do you make of the World Team Trophy? Talk us through all the things you were tweeting up a storm. Were you up watching it live?
Almost. So I've been on this crazy early swing because I've been teaching a lot of students in Asia. So there's a 12-hour time difference. So if I'm going to start teaching at 7, I kind of have to be up by 5:30 in order to swing it. So I was kind of watching a lot of it in close time.
Are you and Shaylin Bourne choreographing for all of the people of Asia?
Yeah, we're basically twins.
Okay, that's what I think. Okay. So,
but it's fascinating because Sweden, that time change allowed me to easily watch in time. Mm-hmm. But this one, of course, was a bit more of an effort. And it has to be said, we're just going to get it out of the way. First thing, that was a tough go for Simon. Simon, for those who don't know, is the Terry Gannon of Eurosport. And that's fine. I don't think NBC would ever say, okay, Terry, go out and do it.
That's okay. Simon did more for Mark Hanretty's future commentary career with the ISU than he could have done himself. Okay?
Yeah. And here's the...
helped Mark. And Mark, unfortunately, is back to teaching lessons on Sundays. Things are opening up in the UK. So we will be reconvening with him at a later date. Listen, this and that stops for no one.
But even Chris, the other Eurosport commentator, would have been much better than Simon. Simon has always been sort of the layman that Mark or Chris have to explain things to. Remember, he thought Plushenko won in 2010, was calling it, and Chris was like, whoa, I don't think that's right. Didn't know the names, didn't know the countries, clearly hasn't watched skating at all in the past 2 years. So that was really tough because you feel like you're watching with them.
Terry has a near photographic memory. He would not be making these errors left and right. That is very rude. He's more of a Tom Hammond type, okay?
Fair enough. And Terry actually has been around it and been around such a plethora of commentators that I think actually he probably could hold his own in a way, or know when to not make a comment.
Terry single-handedly carries the gymnastics broadcast on NBC. I mean,
well, he's good looking too.
Him and Nastia have zero chemistry whatsoever.
Okay.
They are from different generations. It's just awkward, and there's two different egos and styles.
Okay.
Tim is kind of like a gymnastics Scott Hamilton. He kind of learned from David Michaels how to project and do the big, like the sayings and things like that. And Nastya's like, well, she tweeted me. So Terry has to bridge the gap between those two.
Right.
Yes.
That's I mean, he was originally hired as like a wrangler for Tara and Johnny when they first started doing it with them. So yeah.
Okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's going.
And he handled some very funny Dick Button moments in the day, Terry Gannon. It should be said, there's an art to this. There is a real art. So
okay. I have to say, I absolutely hate Twitter. I hate it. I don't know how you.
It is the most vile. It is the most vile of the social media platforms.
And the most annoying. Okay. Where I made a comment, right? And I said that I believe that Jason deserves the highest PCS. Now I was looking at.
I agree.
And in the short program, I thought that Jason deserved the highest PCS. Yuzuru Hanyu and Nathan Chen finished above him. So I said, with all due respect to Nathan and Yuzu, which all due respect is positive comment, I believe that Jason is head and shoulders above, and that awarding someone who is a good jumper higher components is akin to awarding a great artist plus 5 GOE for every jump that they do, whether or not the jump is good.
It's double dipping.
It's double dipping.
Yeah.
But the fans want the double dip because I think they view them as like bonus points on an exam, which the components are not. They are just,
or should not be. Yeah.
They are the writing section on the SATs. They are the essay at the end of your multiple choice exam, right? They are the what do you know and now apply it. This is the applied section. This is the more subjective.
Well, I'm from the Midwest and then was going to conservatory, so I only took the ACT.
Yes.
But to me, it's like one's the science section and one is the English section. You're going to have people that would ideally excel in two totally different areas, and they don't just blanket together. I agree with you. That
comment offended every fan group because they were saying, how dare you put Nathan and Yuzu together as though they are equivalent with components. And I'm like, well,
look at the score, and they both placed above Jason, and your argument is they shouldn't have.
In this case, and then someone is like, you are using a narrative that, putting a narrative that Nathan isn't good at components. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that in this case, Jason is better. This is why I stay off of Twitter. It's just no good comes of it because I will get moody. I will get fresh. I will, with the fans. This is
but Dave, what's that meme we always talk about where it's like, if you say you like oranges, then all the comments say, what's wrong with apples? And I mean, that's literally what you've just, is she attacking you? Is she attacking your sweater, Tessa?
My beautiful sweater.
Did she Mariah Bell your sweater, Dave? Did she say?
My cashmere. Her skates. I think Tessa, I'm a little upset. It'll be okay. Can you go back?
Gotta go over to the referee. Yeah.
I'm like, Tanya, I need to go to the referee and be like, can we play? I think it's screwed. Oh, well. Maybe no one will notice it.
You can fix it. You can take it to the dry cleaner. They'll do it.
They'll do it? Okay.
Okay. It can be saved. But yes, I agree with you very much on that point. And here's the thing. I was really looking at the short programs here. It was nice because the men's field here was very much the same in many ways as World. So it was nice to take a second look at these matchups. And I do think that the Hanyu short program, although not my cup of tea, does have some interesting transitions, does have some lovely jump holds coming out of it.
Fans feel that every program is iconic.
Yes, and should be a perfect score every time. So, and of course, at the end of the day, we're all talking about just about a point difference. Nothing that would have actually changed the standings.
But I would like excuse me. People get very offended when they say, well, who cares if they were going to win anyway? Although, as we know, when there is a big point spread between Nathan and Yuzu, the fans on both sides will absolutely perplexing. I just think in this case, Jason was so far and beyond the most complete program component skater in the short program, and I would like to see that judged as such, and I defend that. I think that they are all wonderful skaters. I also thought Roman Sadovsky had a fabulous short program.
The short program was so beautiful, and there's something for such a tall guy. I'm so impressed that everything about that quad saw when it's firing, there's something so light about all of his jumps, and they just place the blade down on the ice. I don't know, there's something so lovely about the short program here in particular, I thought.
Well, Roman did have, I think, some rotation issues. I had heard he was not skating well before, but before the World Team Trophy, or it was inconsistent, one day good, one day bad. Not surprising when you get passed over for Worlds 2 years in a row to be in your feelings. And I think that actually how he did doing a good short program is better than doing a good free, because one of the reasons that he has gotten passed over for World Championship teams is that there has been doubt about whether or not he could withstand the pressure and nail the short program to qualify for the free, because the short was his Achilles heel in the past. And he did great short here. I think some of the rotations, maybe not as good, maybe not as quite as fit as he was, earlier in the season, but I thought he did a great job. I am most impressed, and I think Tessa is as well.
That's what you were doing. You changed her into her USA outfit.
Yes, because she can.
Wondering what was going on. Okay.
Excuse me. Tessa loves Nathan and Scott Moyer. Okay. He is also her favorite alien. Okay.
Okay. Room in her heart for both. Okay.
There's room. Okay.
Okay.
So I think that actually his camel, where he does the layover, it's like an extended, almost like, the unicamel, which all the Russians do, and it's really hideously ugly because a lot of them have short legs and a day of boots that kind of make like a square. But he like lays over like this, and it is the most stunning position ever. All the points. Okay.
Yeah, it's really a lovely quality. And here's the thing, like,
Gus Lucy did think of that in those spin videos that I've been rewatching lately. He didn't even know.
He didn't even know what he was inspiring for later generations, maybe. That's what it is. But I mean, here's the thing, like on one hand, it's like, yes, now we know why the Federation wanted to send Keegan. On the other hand, this proves to me why Roman needs to be competing as much as possible. Yeah. And this is the case with a couple of people where I thought Roman, more than maybe some of the other male competitors, really missed out this season by not competing nonstop. He's someone that I would just love to see out there nonstop.
Yeah, well,
I think that's what
it's hard in Canada. They're in lockdown again.
I know.
It's and some of it is because of the number of ventilators in hospitals and things like that. So just like a difficult situation for them. But I think overall, they did about as well as you could expect here at the World Team Trophy. I thought that he did a really good short program, and to me, he's just one of the most fabulous skaters in terms of extension and musicality and the soft knees, and he's big and looks tall and grand and on the ice.
And yet sensitive also. It's not just big, yeah.
So I thought it was great. Jason.
I want to bring, because I want to, this is dangerous territory. Phil Hirsch was in one of his articles talked about Kevin's short program.
Okay.
And I would just like to say that I adore this short program, that I find it incredibly creative. I find it respectful. I think there is one point right before the triple axel where like the heavens open up and the music and all the animals sounds start coming in because it's the Lion King. And I think it is such a moment. And I think the notion that this is somehow cultural appropriation kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I was curious to get your take on that. Because I'm curious who is offended.
I don't know that there is an answer to what is now acceptable levels of cultural appropriation in skating and what is not. And I don't think that there are acceptable, I think that this conversation over the last year and a half, what is okay, what isn't okay is a really gray area. It is like, I don't want to like put an endorsement like cultural appropriation is okay. Like I really think it is a case by case basis, right?
I think so too. And I don't think this is that case. That's, I guess, what I was sort of getting at.
So NCAA gymnastics was on yesterday. I think I'm more concerned with like the white girls pretending that they could be like in rap videos with some of the hand gestures of like, that to me is more uncomfortable than having the short program. right?
Yeah.
And I think you have to put, I don't think there is malintent in there. And I'll put it that
Right.
It didn't strike me. I really enjoyed his short program. To me, it did not offend. Someone else maybe has a different opinion, right? And I think that that's the kind of thing that you have to know that there are going to be different people and they may be upset by it, and you try to avoid that. So I mean, I didn't see a bad intention there. I'm a white guy from New Jersey. You're right. Like, and that is my.
Well, Phil's a white guy from Chicago. Yeah.
To me, he's not wearing bushes and doing Eskimo kisses while with brown paint on his body, being an Aborigine. To me, that's patently offensive.
Right.
To me, this is
that was no question. That was a no-brainer. That was inappropriate. But this is the story of Hamlet as told through African animals.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. Okay. That was a great answer. Could be Miss New Jersey with that answer.
I wasn't trying to be. No, that's my honest opinion.
No, I know. I think it's a very good one.
Like, okay, how about when Marilyn Charlie did I was thinking about this. When Marilyn Charlie did the
Bollywood program.
They went to a Bollywood dancer, studied with her, and the Indian community loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say that Twitter got a hold of it before the Indian community did. Could someone on Twitter say that's, offensive cultural appropriation and have that be retweeted? And maybe some people think that it's not okay, and then the Indian community loves it. Right. So who is to judge each thing, right? I think that there's no easy answer, but I think it always comes from intention.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And I don't think that there was bad intentions on this part. With the
it's one of my favorite short programs of the year. Yeah.
The Aborigine, I don't think that was a good intention.
No.
Averbuk's Navka Schindler's List, I don't think that was the greatest intention.
Right.
And that Medvedeva's 9/11 program, not the greatest intention, right? I just think that there are different things. And I don't think that Medvedeva's short program was anything about her. I think it was everything about Averbuk who choreographed it. And just in terms of people trying to use tragedy for drama, for easy drama in skating.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that is, there's like a cheapness to it. I don't think it was the most offensive thing I had ever seen, but I think it had a cheapness to it. I didn't get a cheapness from Kevin's. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm not, African. And if I were African watching, I don't know how I would, who knows? Sometimes people love it. Sometimes people feel honored that you want
represented by their musical choices or something. Yeah.
Then you might feel it's cultural appropriation. But I think that there's no hard and fast rule, and that I think it does come from a place of intention. As do most things. So I don't.
That's great, Dave. I think that's great.
But I mean, okay, if we're talking about Phil Hirsch, I just have I love Phil. I have one thing that makes me crack up. I love when someone from Yale references that they went to Yale, right?
Okay.
I did my other people going to Yale. I've noticed it's a thing. Remember we talked about this, I think either during Skate America or Nationals. It was a huge discussion on See Live. And we cracked up talking about the different Ivies, but Yale in particular, if someone knows that someone went to Yale, the Yaleys love each other. Okay. So obviously Nathan Chen goes to Yale. This makes Phil Hirsch already love him even more, as if he were, Phil loves Claude, he loves Yale, he loves Nathan, we all love Nathan. He asked Nathan a leading question about taking a music, Phil loves music, his son's a conductor.
A great conductor, yeah.
Yes, and Phil loves classical music. He was he was trying to get Nathan to say that this classical music course that he took, made him appreciate Philip Glass more. And Nathan kind of dodged and he was like, well, I mean, yeah, we know. And yeah, clearly well, it was a great class. And I think he's a great composer, but maybe hadn't made that jump himself. But then Phil came up with an article that was obviously taking this classical music course with Philip Glass made him appreciate. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I think Phil is just a huge Philip Glass fan. And I didn't know. But now I was listening to Nathan's music, and I didn't really like this program. I just never thought that he had a costume. I don't think it was the best, but the second half of the program is pretty cool.
I think minimalist music like Philip Glass, I prefer John Adams. I think these guys actually would work really well for skating. I think it's elevated, but just how we were talking about some of the big orchestral swelling moments that we're associating with like the 90s and stuff like that may not be as in fashion now, but something like Philip Glass or John Adams could be. Yeah,
I think it is a minimalist era, and perhaps that will change in the future. Right now, it is a minimalist in terms of music, and I don't know, it's kind of like we're all into our artsy voice, and that tends to come out. So
totally,
the program is not my favorite, but the music has grown on me throughout the season, I will say. So
yeah. But I do have to say, I was surprised in the short when, yes, I agree with you about Jason's PCS should have won. And that's not a slam on anyone, but to me,
reputation. And then when you go and you bomb the free.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But again, I don't care so much for the Hanyu short, but I appreciated how many transitions and things were in it. And it just seemed just a little bit more crafted than the mariachi short program, which somehow avoided any sort of discussion of cultural appropriation. But I don't know, it just didn't really do it for me. And I was surprised to see it, again, rewarded so much, especially in composition and transitions.
I mean, I think that the reason why I tweeted it in the short program is that Jason's short program is a work of art, right?
It's a masterpiece. I don't think any of those other guys could do that program.
And she goes, I love it, Jason Brown. Very good style. Absolutely same jumps as when Victor are competing. Absolutely the same.
We know.
But
that's not the PCS mark. That's not the point of the tweet. The tweet wasn't he should have won the short program. The tweet was he should have had the highest PCS.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the quad sow attempt in the free?
I thought it was better than Worlds. I think good for him for attempting it in back-to-back competitions, which has been a struggle for him. And he didn't have his primary coaches there at the boards with him. Because remember, if you go to a competition in Canada and then come back, you have to lose a 2-week minimum of testing and they just were gone for Worlds. So there are people with businesses, it doesn't fit in that schedule. And that's why Canada didn't have their A team here. I saw Tracy Lee Brown messaging it. Maybe she missed an episode where we discussed why they weren't there, Tracy. But
just saying.
Just saying. And that's why China chose, because China is a 3-week and then a several days once they get back in the training environment. Anyway, I think it was just interesting to see him do it. Unfortunately, the rest of the program really went to shit. The axle pop, and I think it was just end of the season tiredness, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seemed like a focus situation, not a physical limitation.
Yeah, it got away from him. But that's, Scott Hamilton told all the time, when you add in the quad, the rest of the program can become so much harder. And I think for him, I think that's absolutely true. And I think he needs to keep attempting these quads now in October, if you want to get to the end result.
I think even though the program got away from him, the attempt was the most important part. That now he's got 2 back-to-back pretty decent attempts. I know that they were called, but the fact that they're trying is something. What about Shoma?
Oh, okay. I think Jason overall, I just want to say, had more magic in the short at nationals, although every time he's been performing in this program is spectacular. It's like comparing Michelle's version of Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto #2. It's like it's like, I don't know, analyzing different takes of like Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. I mean, they're all great, added together, right? But they will say with the free, when he adds in the quad, he hasn't done the triples. So that's something that he will, and he does those in the second half. It's a lot of points to give away. So it's just something that he's going to have to, figure out before next season. Shoma.
Who was very upset with himself. Now, this is interesting. A lot of people were asking about Yuma, but I know some countries were announcing World Team Trophy even before Worlds. Yeah. Did Japan not?
Well, look, this is a made-for-TV event.
Right.
I don't know if there's a hard and fast rule that you have to go, but usually people will go off of world results. And that's kind of customary. And especially when you have really, I mean, this competition is important, yes, because of ISU and things like that, but it's mostly, I mean, it's a huge moneymaker opportunity for anyone who gets to go here. And in terms of the US or Canada, or where you haven't been able to compete a lot, this is a huge opportunity of pressure and experience and visibility. So, and everyone's gonna be watching around the world, especially this year. This is not one of the years where we're like, who cares about the World Team Trophy? This year, everyone is watching.
Right.
So, and everyone wants to see how people are going to do after Worlds and are they going to build. So it's a tough situation.
It could have helped Yuma, I thought, with like the world ranking.
Yes.
Like he could have really benefited from getting more points.
Did they get transfer here? I forgot. I'm forgetting. And I don't want to say the wrong thing. But in terms of Yuma, the one thing I would think of is that obviously Shoma and Yuzu have been such huge stars in Japan that they were going to want them for TV. However, I was thinking that with Matteo Rizzo withdrawing due to COVID and Italy not having a reserve ready to go, why not have Yuma do an exhibition and just listen. Italy was in no danger of winning this event.
Right.
Could be Italian. He could, he could put in the Fellini tunes. I don't know. But I would have even had him just get an exhibition for, think about how much time is in a TV broadcast or whatever.
Right.
I mean, just to fill the slot. But maybe that wasn't possible. But I mean, what do you do, fortunately? So yeah, there. But
Shoma just seemed untrained to me. Yeah.
Well, he often seems untrained.
Yeah. Yeah.
His practice habits are abysmal. Okay. And talking to someone who trains with him, at some point, I mean, he could not hack it in Sambo 70. He just was not.
Yeah, talk about from one extreme to the other. Yeah.
So when you see him practice and he falls and lets himself like lay on the ice, and I mean, that's out of control for a lot of coaches. Could you imagine doing that in front of Frank Harrell and living? Right. So the lack of discipline in the practice for Shoma tends to show up in the competition. I also think he's an extreme talent and someone that has been able to get by throughout his career. But I think when he got to a certain level, and now you're putting in all of these quads and you just don't have the training bank of consistency, that's what hurts him.
Yeah. It's too bad.
It's too bad. And he's trying to add in the triple axel quad toe, but how many times do you think he does that in a program?
Right. Yeah, because even in the practices, it showed up exactly as it ended up going in the competition.
Yeah, I mean, we all did see that one great attempt where he, flipped out of it, but by and large, he was not doing them great. And, everyone used this competition for different reasons and different motivations here to put stuff out. And I think for him, he wanted to put out a huge technical element, get some, positive momentum going into next season. But I think his season fell apart a little bit at the end, unfortunately. Jason can egg this event and go, you know what? I did the quad. I did a good short program. Okay, we're moving on to next year. Roman can be like, I nailed the short program at the World Team Trophy. Free didn't go well, but you know what? I went out there and I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan can say, I went out there, against Yuzu, and I...
Again, yeah.
Right? What is Shoma's narrative going to be? It's tougher. So I think that's what he was trying to do. It just didn't really work out.
And unfortunately, this is another short program that I just absolutely adore. Yeah. But when it's such a mess, the fire went out. The light was off, and it just seemed. That's when the music seemed too heavy.
He is a talent. I do believe that people often all of a sudden have a come to Jesus moment, and they decide to get really intense, like Nancy Kerrigan. She's going to train before the Olympic season. I think Shoma would need to do that to get on the medal podium next season. But
it's funny. It was almost the same discussion I felt going into the last Olympics with Shoma.
Yeah.
like, and he pulled it off there. I mean,
okay, so last Olympics, I felt like, were there really like 4 main guys going? The last Olympics, Shoma, Nathan, Yuzu, Javi, right? I feel like that was the top 4. Now for the podium, it's Shoma, Yuzu, Yuma,
right,
Nathan, Kolyada. Like now it's like 5 heavy hitters, and then whoever else is going to show up. You've got Semenenko, you've got Aliyev, who you've got like other people that could pull things out. And I think for Shoma, he could be anywhere from like 2nd to
12th. I mean, honestly, yeah, if he doesn't put a combo on or something like that in the short, he could really find himself in a weird way.
Yeah, so I think it's tough, but I think he does need to find at least that consistency that works for him there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was Nam, not a great outing. Not a great outing.
I can't say I've seen Hanyu pop like that.
No, that was surprising.
That was unexpected because I thought the loop was so lovely.
Yes.
And yeah. So.
And the quad toes were great. So I wonder with him, we did see the quad axel. It's very to the left, and instead of being over his center in the air and over his axis, I worry for him about training this quad axel without a technical coach there over the summer, because my understanding is he wanted Ghislaine to come and be with him in Japan until the Olympics, but Ghislaine has a family, and doing that is not.
And other students, I would think, yeah.
And Yuzu has said that he doesn't really want to go back to Canada. It sounded like he didn't really like sharing the rink with other people, and then of course he would have to quarantine for 2 weeks and those situations. But maybe that is the smartest decision for him, because you're training for an Olympic Games by yourself without a coach. And I think he's done a good way of maintaining what he has. But if he needs to move forward in this competition against Nathan, I can't see him even closing the gap on his own without a coach, unless Nathan gets injured. Because think about it, if you're trying quad axel by yourself without a second pair of eyes, and yes, you can use video, but you need that person to tell you when to pull back and when to put, and he's so.
You need an extra set of eyes, yeah.
That's when you could hurt yourself. I mean, he is not young. In skating terms, he is not young, and this is a very difficult, dangerous.
And it's interesting because it almost reminds me, do you remember, he used to have this really noodly quality going into some of the jumps and would just kind of fall out. I mean, many years ago, like pre-2014. Yeah. And it was the same kind of spills on the sow and the toe. And he got there, obviously, when he has the sow, it's so, so beautiful. But this, it's also, his approach seems to be noodly falling. But now we had seen the
Artur
Dmitriev attempts. We saw the Nathan attempts at Skate America, and now we've seen these Yuzu attempts most recently. Almost everyone seems to just land full blown forward.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's not like anyone has yet to kind of cheat it. Like everyone is full blown landing forward.
They're at no risk of landing these in competition.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm getting at here. So
I think it's great to see. I think his fans really believe it's possible. If he puts everything behind it, I would love to see it. But realistically, what it would take in a competition at that age, adding it in an Olympic season, I don't know. That would be really, really.
Well, we're talking about everyone else who has these tremendous jumps we see nonstop in practice, and they haven't yet been able to achieve it in competition. Now we're talking about something that has never even been landed in practice, even close.
Yes.
By anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's tough.
But he wants to do it, so.
Yep. It clearly seems to be motivating him in some way. So
go for it. But I would have a coach there to do it.
Yeah, for safety, because again, otherwise we're going to have that quad Lutz situation that kept him off the ice for so much of 17, 18.
Coach there. I mean, things can happen. So
right.
I don't know. I would like to see him. I want to see all the skaters healthy and ready to go for the Olympics.
Yes,
right?
Because I think that Olympic showdown could be epic with those like 4, 5, 6 guys, all healthy, all doing their best. It will be a thrilling event. I want everyone there and healthy. Yeah.
No, Kolyada, again, the free program just, oh my goodness, it just was not it. And he's gotten more consistent throughout the season. He's not popping like he did, but this was a missed opportunity. I know he's supposed to be wearing the Nureyev practice kind of outfit attire.
I miss the blue.
I miss it. I don't know. It's a miss. Yeah. It's a little too like, oh, that's what it is. To me, it just doesn't have the same finish and the same projection of confidence and
magic, because he's so magic, and it's such a muted, understated kind of drab color. So we miss that sort of thing he can do. Yeah. But those quad toes are lovely and consistent.
Do you think he should keep the program? I tend to think he should. I know that they've said that he will get a new program, and unless you can top it, maybe you get a new program for a couple events and you go back to it.
That's what I think. In order to keep it fresh, maybe you do go do another one for a while and then go back to this one, like sort of maybe by Europeans
did this in Olympic year.
Something.
Remember, he tried that.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny did that with the. I mean, I think Johnny switched back a little too late in 2006. But yes, this has been done before, where you have a great program and you try it and you go back.
Yeah.
So
give us what we want. I am ready to see the short go. I know some people like it. It's not my cup of tea. For him,
I hate the short.
Yeah, it's such a waste of his gifts.
And by the way, I was just, Averbuk did Kolyada's free, which I think is brilliant. So I'm just, look, I don't like everything I write. I don't like every video I make. So this is...
you're an artist. Like, of course, you're going to have some things that I like that you do. You're going to have some things I don't like.
When Nina got so offended about the Lindsay Thorngren program, it was like, wait a second. How many times did I say that girl, Fatima Gomez from Mexico, was fabulous?
Yeah.
Choreographed by Nina and like giving vibes of Alexandra Bayol. And the gifts over Lindsay Thorngren, like not a performer, this girl performer. What are we talking about?
Right.
Because she's more famous, suddenly she's a better performer? No. So
same thing, even like we're talking about when you sort of hit a wall with certain Hanyu fans. It's like, I'm not saying not every single program, not every single outing can be everything, Yeah. So
anyway, moving along, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, in the ice dance, it was more of the same, except I paid attention to things that Queen Renee Roca was telling us.
One foot, sorry.
One foot for Hawaii and Baker.
Yeah. But you know what was the big discovery for me here? And I have to be honest, I did not watch this team at Worlds. The French team.
Oh, yes.
I thought their free dance, it opened with that stationary lift, but that free dance, I loved it. Mm-hmm. It's a shame we probably obviously won't see them at the Olympics since France only has one spot, but it was really great. I found that thoroughly entertaining and coached by Barbara. I could use more Barbara teams, maybe.
I did notice Barbara's, okay, so the Italian team, coached by Barbara, there are moments of the Song of the Sparrow program in like 45-second chunks, 30-second chunks, where they really do look like the best team. It's something about the overall arc of the program that misses it for me, but they do have really clean footwork, precision on the ice. It's just
so solid. It's solid.
They're missing that overall picture to me, but they are so solid in the individual parts. But it's like the details are good, but the broad strokes are missing for me in this team. There's no arc to the program. There's no the costumes are kind of dry. It's just like there's no big picture.
Well, sort of what's the takeaway?
Yeah.
Like the takeaway is like that was really solid.
Yeah.
And that's, ice dance, you kind of want something emotional, I would think.
Yeah, I don't remember any pictures from the program when I see it.
It was I don't remember offhand if it was the stationary lift into a rotational lift or vice versa or whatever it is. But there's like one moment, and if they could do more of that, I think we'd have more wow factor going on.
Yeah.
Because I think they can do some wow factor technical things, but I agree with you. You're like, I'm not really rooting for you though, even though I think I like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
but solid as hell.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, Hawaii and Baker, their 1 foot skating in the short and the free, to me, their best elements. She has improved so much as a skater. I noticed here, she loves that rhythm dance, the Bee Gees, that is her moment. And I thought in the free, they did a good performance, and they look to be solidly the number 3 team in the US moving forward. I don't see that changing before next season. So their job. Vicky and Nikki.
Okay, let's talk about it, because it's easy for us to just sit here and say, oh, the judging. Oh, why are they being so favored? Oh, because it's so clear they're trying to jockey to beat the French. And I used an example like the Twizzles. They are synchronized Twizzles. This is the requirement, and there they go. And he does his flaily thing. He didn't do this at Worlds, but he was back to his old ways here, where he just hurdles himself into it, completely out of control, and completely off time with her. She, who's doing great, nailing it, and he's just a sloppy mess. Boom, they get an extra like 2.5 points on grade of execution from it. It was ridiculous.
You remember, the best Twizzle competition was between Papadakis Cizeron and Virtue and Moyer. 2017, 2018, I mean, every 3-turn, basically half turn in those Twizzles was synchronized for the teams.
Yeah.
They were so drilled. And remember that with Marina, that was kind of a hairy element the last 2 seasons, Virtue and Moyer 2013, 2014, when they were with they very consistent element, improved technique there on that element. Huge difference between the last 2 years of Marina and then. It was like the technique of that element, it became like state of the art with those teams and how trained it was. So to see this team be getting, come on.
And it's sloppy, it's weird. And I thought that even at Worlds.
If you read that protocol, you would think that they are Maya and Alex Shibutani skating with Alexander Zhulin. Okay,
and they are not. Yeah. It was really, and again, they should have won here. Obviously, no one's saying that they should not have, but that's some shady stuff.
The moment when they go in front of the camera, in front of the judges, and they're looking so happy, I mean, it is such a cringe. It is so uncomfortable because it's so unnatural.
Well, and again, I find her delightful. I do enjoy watching her very much. I don't understand the free dance. It doesn't go with the music. The music is this sentimental, like nostalgic thing. And he is just like, I don't know what he's going through with the facial expression, but it is so insincere and so trite and so upsetting that I just don't know how it can be rewarded.
I wonder if sometimes Russians choreograph programs without the music on.
Because this kind of facial expression like that, I was like, what? And there's just like a violin going, I don't understand how they're connected. Yeah. That was like the Greatest Showman kind of facial expression.
You know how Sandra was like picking apart each note of Christie's program in that fluff piece and trying to create a moment? The Russians will create great steps and fit it into pieces of music, but it's not done note by note. That is not how they really choreograph. It's a little bit different.
Right.
I know this from experience. Okay, like this is not.
I want them to be submissive to the music, but instead they're just
not happening.
Crushing the music into what they need it to be. Yeah.
They're thinking about the step, and it's just like a subtle nuance. But in this free dance, I think it.
Then you know what I say? Go hire some great Russian composition students at all the conservatories there and have them write the music to match the steps.
That's why all of Eteri's music sounds the way it does, because you could put anything underneath it and it sounds great.
Yeah, it's just a blank canvas,
But it's all the same kind of music because it's all the same kind of step. I mean, yes.
Yeah, right. It fits the formula.
Yes.
And Dvorak is too interesting. It cannot just...
Cannot put that under.
Yeah.
By and large, there are exceptions, but yes.
But this free dance is not one of those exceptions.
Not one of them.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's very clear the stage is being set for for a takeover, and it's too bad.
No, I didn't know if we were going to talk about this, but Jonathan, did you see Megan Duhamel's Instagram? Because there have been rumblings about this for several months. Did you see that Megan said that she and Eric will not be doing shows together, but that she hopes to be doing shows?
Yeah, and so that has
people were originally like more concerned about like the drama that she's not coaching, which we've known that she's not really coaching. Remember, she didn't know how KMT was going to skate at the Worlds, and people were so focused on that. And I was like, wait a second, did you all miss like the other
little tidbit in there? Yeah,
that was like a neon light for me.
Yeah,
of
something's happening.
They're not doing shows together. Eric looks in great shape. We see him shirtless on Instagram every other week, every other day, looking good. What do you think's happening, Jonathan? I mean, have you noticed?
How old is Eric then? Is he technically early 30s?
Oh my God, I don't want to ask the skater's age and get it wrong.
Yeah, sorry.
Jonathan. He is not
but that's what I'm saying. That was the only part. I mean, it's clear Canada would like a second.
He's a year older than I am. He's 36. So, okay.
I mean, no spring chicken.
Right.
But very talented jumper.
You notice that there is a certain skater that has really been adopted by Canada over the last year.
Perhaps even done a reality show there.
Also done 1 million panel discussions on race.
Her partner might be currently unavailable for varying reasons.
She might have allegedly been released by France. I'm watching that situation.
I would watch that situation too, because actually, if you're the Canadian Federation, you might be very excited by that because you may need the help in the team event.
I think they could probably beat Evelyn and Trent.
I would think without a doubt.
I would think.
Yeah.
But it's a new team. You never know.
Yeah.
Again, not a young team. Things can happen, but.
I wonder who would coach that team.
Well, he's in Montreal. So that would
Okay.
be the Richard School, you know.
Okay.
No, I'm watching that situation.
Yeah. Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
It's just weird. It's something that like when you ask someone in Canada about, it's like, the funny thing that I've noticed in skating, you know what? I know and you know something is true. People do this at the ice house all the time. You say something and something is true. The immediate reaction is, who told you? Right. It's not like, who told you?
Yeah.
They all do it all the time. It's hysterical. It's like, I don't know that that's true. It's like, and no one wants to say it. It's so funny because if this happened in the US, people would be like talking about it like
nonstop. Yes, exactly.
This situation clearly makes everyone so uncomfortable that it's like, and like think about it, because you have like a world champion team not really skating together. Then you have Vanessa, who has the Morgan baggage, who's never really come out about it, but then she's also the poster child for like racial discussions and inclusivity and skating. And everyone is just like, oh, we'll see.
I'd get behind it.
And I would be very interested to watch.
Yeah, I think it could be a very interesting situation there. The Paris field right now in general is not the strongest it has been. And in 2018, I really do think it was. Like the depth at that Olympics was insane. I don't think we're going to see that same kind of depth coming up.
I would be very curious. So just
because Canada can send 2 teams. But this actually opens an interesting discussion that's a quasi segue, but also about World Team Trophy, because at the Olympic team event, each country can have, is it 6 entries?
Yes, 6
for 4 disciplines.
Yes.
So let's say you are Canada,
mm-hmm.
and you might want to keep Keegan as your only guy if he's going and skating well, perhaps. Maybe
you just want to roll that dice if you are Canada with the men. Although Keegan did a good job at Worlds, yeah. So maybe
and really can be the most reliable of the 3 if you're talking about trying to solidify something for a team event.
I would want Maddie Jesus.
I was just going to say, you might have to have her do both. So in which case are you now offering Piper and Paul, KMT?
I want them to do both?
Yeah.
But you know that it becomes a situation where it's like, are you denying an athlete an opportunity for a medal? And in that case, maybe you have two different men competing.
Or two different pairs teams.
Well, I think two different pairs, two different men, because I think being world medalists, going into the Olympics, Piper and Paul deserve the first right of refusal about whether or not they want to do both the rhythm dance and the free dance, the competition. And they've stuck around for the last 4 years. And I think that they've earned the right to make that decision.
And it poses a really interesting situation, in my opinion, for the US ice dance selection.
I also don't think it would be bad for KMT to only do one of the programs and to have the second Canadian team do the other. But again, that's their own decision. You're right.
Right.
I would think that should get the second option, unless you feel because Keegan helped the men that maybe he gets to decide. But I do think that, yes, that is kind of the way the cookie's going to crumble, because if Maddie is the only female skater qualified, the other two probably, they would have to split them. That would probably be what would happen. So,
but like, let's say a potential new team of Vanessa and Eric, you could totally rely on, I think, that team to do well enough.
Unless you make the argument that not splitting it is actually more competitively beneficial. That would be a really interesting debate about, is it more advantageous for the skaters that you have to go win it if not substituting is better for your country than substituting. Although wait, they didn't substitute. Didn't Patrick do both in 2018? Because Megan and Eric did both, right? Didn't they compete 4 times in?
Yeah, and it was Gabby and Caitlin were in the ladies. And was it Tessa and Scott for both, or was it Tessa and Scott and Piper and Paul?
Scott for both.
Okay.
So then, I mean, I think that maybe they, you know what, we're gonna have to see the competition, see how they all look.
Of course. I mean, but this is the kind of conversation that opens after a world team trophy. And for me, especially, I was thinking for the US, for example, I think we like that it can be 2 women and 2 men. And I think obviously the pair choice seems pretty clear, but it does become a question. Now there's extra competition around Chalk and Bates versus Madison and Zach, because they're all sort of vying for that, like maybe bronze medal position. Yeah. That's going to be an extra layer of who's going to get a guaranteed medal from the team event, kind of.
Technically, Hubble and Donahue should have so technically the way it should work is that Nathan should have first right of refusal to decide what he wants to do, whether he wants to do both programs or not. Hubble and Donahue are also world medalists. Chalk and Bates are not. Right. And even though Chalk and Bates likely would have won a medal in 2020 and Hubble and Donahue would not have, technically Hubble and Donahue are the only US dance team to medal since 2018. Should they win nationals, I think that they could knock Chalk and Bates out of doing it. Remember, the Shibutanis chose to do both. Right. So technically, they should be offered that opportunity.
But here's the thing: the Shibutanis may have been chosen to do both, but I think the Shibutani, they were going to always have to stick with one ice dance pair regardless, because they wanted to split up the singles.
No, wasn't the thing that the Shibutanis chose to do both last time?
But then they would they have taken one of the women out or one of the men out?
Well, but think about it, because before the last Olympics, the Shibutanis were reigning world bronze medalists in ice dance. And obviously Nathan was the king going in. And I believe that the way that it was supposed to work, like the highest ranking skaters were supposed to be able to make those decisions first. And obviously, Alexa and Chris were
the only pair. Yeah.
So I think the way that cookie crumbled, you get to make that decision. So it's a very interesting conversation. Technically, I would think that Chalk and Bates are considered quasi, equal with Hubble and Donahue. But if I'm Hubble and Donahue, maybe I want to skate both. That's a huge opportunity experience at the Olympics to be able to do the team event.
And again, you're basically guaranteeing yourself a medal, which
this is interesting because they were the team that was kept out of the team event by the Shibutanis doing both. They may keep Chalk and Bates out of the team event. That's just interesting the way it could work out.
I just find it hard to believe the US would ever put forth only one man or only one woman.
I think that would be such a lawsuit in the US. Could you imagine the bitching in the newspaper?
Right.
That happened?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But if it's more competitively advantageous.
Right. And in 2018, for instance, if you had just put in Nathan and just put in Bradie and left out Mariah and Adam, you're leaving out the story. That team event made those two people's careers in some ways.
Marissa and Simon, Jeremy Abbott, Olympic medalist, if not for the team event, right?
Right.
Ashley Wagner, Gracie Gold. By the way, Gracie looks fabulous.
Oh, really? I was thinking, God, if she was skating for Canada.
No. Gracie has been working hard. And the pictures from Mariah's birthday, you can tell.
Wow, okay.
And she just got a new Jeremy program last week. So wouldn't that be something if she did?
I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But
exactly.
I hope she does great. I hope she does great. Yeah.
But imagine if she won Liberty this summer. Think about how all of a sudden, how exciting that would be.
Upside down the world would become in an interesting way. Yeah.
Listen, Jeremy Abbott has been working with two skaters, Alyssa Liu, and then went to Gracie Gold. My understanding is that Gracie looks better than Alyssa right now. What I've heard from several different people. So
stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened because I didn't think that Bradie or Karen, I know everyone a couple weeks ago wanted to say Karen was a lock for the Olympics. I watched this and thought we have no locks, but we have leaders.
Yes, I agree. And because I do not subscribe to the notion that because Karen placed fourth, she is now owed something. She did her job, and her job in that moment was to place as high as she could, and she did. End of discussion. Because
that should help her.
Yeah.
I believe that should be a strong plus in when you line up who they could send, but I do not think that guarantees you a spot.
You have a long season ahead.
Also, she can medal at World. If you medaled at World. Even though, remember 2008, Johnny Weir medaled, 2009, we were like 95, Nicole Bobak medaled, 96, we were like, just because, but you know what? It does help her that Tammy is in Colorado and that, Justin used to be Tammy's assistant. Sure, that is a plus in her category. Yes.
Yeah.
But
I think that it's really going to still come down to the moment.
Yes.
I don't think anyone is owed anything. Yeah.
They were like, Ashley, you were not owed shit. So, yeah. I don't know. This is an interesting discussion. I think that I saw a lot of under-rotated jumps between Bradie and Karen.
I'm used to it from Karen. This is a new phenomenon for me.
Bradie, but it's getting worse.
That's what I mean. I remember when she first came on the scene back in 2018, what was so alluring, it was not at all like Kaori, but what was nice is at that nationals, it was so clear that she was landing things rotated. And then over time, it's really become so much of a thing.
I think she's grown since the last Olympics, and look, it does not look like it is as easy for her to rotate 3 times for injuries, for whatever, added inches, whatever. It just physically it looks to be more of a challenge, and it looks glaring. So I think
it's open field.
I think they are the two leaders going in. Wildly open.
Yeah.
Mariah Bell wants to work hard, Gracie Gold, Karen Chen, Amber Glenn, let them duke it out.
That's interesting. I was surprised because we have seen the World Team Trophy at times in the past been a consolation for some people that have not made the World Team, like when Max Aaron or something was
or Roman Zidovsky.
Exactly. So it seems surprising to me that this wasn't an opportunity to give Amber Glenn something, because quite frankly, however Amber Glenn skated, it most likely would not have disrupted the overall placement for the US.
Who didn't bitch enough to make that happen?
Right? Kind of. I felt like that there was a case to have made that happen.
Well, that's why you don't want your coaches to be more focused on their own child who they skate with rather than politicking for you. Okay. Yeah.
Kind of.
They got to the Worlds. Amber may not have, but
right. It just seemed like a wasted opportunity to not have Amber.
Yes.
Try something here. It would have been important, I think, for the Federation to have seen how she did here.
I mean, she got passed over for both.
Yeah.
Please, I would be pissed. Okay.
Right. This would have been the perfect opportunity. It's so strange.
Haynes got to Worlds. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Hélas.
I mean, if you're the athlete and you're okay with that, like,
then you've made your choice. Yeah.
You may look back in 20 years and think differently, but that's it's what it is. Yeah. I mean, that's
but I have to say, like, the lady that rejuvenated the entire event for me was Kaori in the free.
You know, it's great when you see a skater have it come together in a big moment and at the end of the season and jumping for joy, like at the end. And the spiral was such a moment. The jumps looked great. It was just like a full realization of the program.
And again, with a lot of under rotation and a lot of little weird jumps happening, just to see something so cleanly landed with such incredible speed. It was, listen, artistically, it's not my thing, but I don't care. You still appreciated the speed and ice coverage, especially with who she was following. And it was just amazing. It was such a nice moment.
I mean, to beat Rika the way she did, like in terms of skating.
And to go right after, because again, Rika's skating, what always threw me in person was how small and slow it was. And Kaori's like a speed skater. It's amazing.
No, I know Rika apparently had a back injury, I think is what they're saying. But
send Wakaba. This could have been a moment to send Wakaba. Yeah.
Exactly. Look, she didn't withdraw ahead of time. Right. Your back doesn't start just like hurting. Like
right.
Kaori nailed it.
Yeah, she saw an open door and she jumped right the hell through it. It was great.
And Rika went back to another program. Like, it all screams unsteady situation, right?
Yeah.
What is going to happen there? Before Worlds, we're hearing she was going to go to Orser. Then we're hearing Mia Hamada wants her back in Japan and wants, Hot Sergey to come in. Hot Sergey is still in Russia. Maybe he's going to go there. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's
right.
Different situation. So I don't know. I will be that. Yeah. If
I'm sitting at home and I'm Wakaba, I'm seeing a major opportunity for me for next season.
Excuse me, Rika.
Satoko.
You're Wakaba. You trained the summer of your life. She wasn't there. Wakaba did some great things this year.
She really did. Unfortunately, Japanese nationals wasn't her thing, but some of those triple axels she was throwing out in the fall were sensational. There's, and I forget, sometimes I say she was world bronze. She's world silver medalist at one point. Like, there's something here that she could really go for. And again,
this is the moment when you put your foot on the gas. When you're her, you just smell blood and you go for it. Okay.
Yeah.
You saw Rika brought out Grandma Lisa's drapes from 1974. They're in all the pictures, that ugly pea green with the lace doilies and the You saw how terrible that program was. You saw those under rotation.
Real inconsistent moments, you know.
She didn't look good at Worlds. Her jumps were not rotated at Nationals, regardless of what people were showing on Twitter. Honey, you put your foot on the gas and you go for this. And then
I'm kind of rooting for her.
Hello, she is like the biggest underdog train to get on. Like this is yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Team Wakaba.
Tell me, please, what is your situation, Reed, on Anna Shcherbakova?
Okay. So what I will say is that I was surprised that the quad flip was as close as it was after seeing it in such a state at Worlds. I know that the program is full of transitions. I know she comes from a political powerhouse. Do I think that she deserved such a massive lead over someone like Kaori? No, I don't. I don't understand. If she was to have still won, that's one discussion. But to have clobbered her is a different discussion. I just don't see the merit behind that. And the spins.
So beautiful. The same stuff.
The spins were very troubling. I don't know what's going on there.
She must be exhausted. She's been,
of course, yeah.
Right. She was just going all over Russia, skating under spotlights during the off season while getting ready for this. It's a lot of traveling. It's a lot. She's just coming off of the mental of trying to peak for Worlds. I was impressed that she pulled it together. Again, she had rough practices. I will say that she does look taller. She has grown. The jumps look like they are more of a struggle. It looks like it's harder for her to do the quads than it was certainly when we saw her in Skate America. But I would say since Nationals, even the fall, I think she's giving it everything she has. But looking at the struggle now versus, look, I don't think she's been slacking off the last months, as I don't think anyone in that rink is able to get away with.
Ever, yeah.
I will be very curious to see if what the struggle is like in 6 months, if it is easier or harder or the same. Seeing what we see under spotlights. Unfortunately for her, it has to be unnerving to win the Worlds and then go on tour with someone who's doing triple axel and quad sow arms aloft under spotlights. When you know...
Wait, was she doing quad sow or was she doing quad toe, Valieva?
She's certainly done quad sow. Okay. Was she also doing quad toe? Maybe that is...
I thought she was competing the toe at the, like, at the event right before.
Quad sow under spotlights too.
Okay.
Think
more to the point, yeah, she has both. Yeah.
I mean, everyone's already talking about Valieva being the chosen one for the Olympics. Then you have Daria, so it's like Anna and Valieva neck and neck. And then you have like Kosternaya and Daria with similar skill sets, both trying to get the triple axel in the quad. Oh man. And then you have Maya Hromic. This is a really tough situation. I think, and then you have Tuktamysheva and you have Trusova, who just dyed her hair a color of orange that I just got 20 people that keep sending it as the show with the notifications on screen and whatnot. Yes, it's hideous. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Autumn sunrise.
That's really tough. I mean, I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean,
and here's the thing, when we have seen these sorts of signs emerging from this particular camp, it very rarely turns around. It usually, in the past, has signified the beginning of the end.
But Anna is probably one of the grittiest competitors they have ever had.
Yes.
Her practices being tough and then pulling out in the competition is impressive. You just wonder at what point will the bottom fall out. Right. It's never a good sign to have bad practices and then be able to put in the competition that you wonder. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what she's able to do. Could she make the Olympics without quads? Could she pull off a quad toe? Like, who knows?
Yeah, it was clear because I think she was so far ahead. It had nothing to do with the quad. Her GOE, her PCS, like she didn't need it here. She didn't need it at Worlds.
I mean, that's several years of being consistent, paying off in your components. It's just not necessarily accurate.
Right.
Although I think she has a lovely quality on the ice.
Right. But
Alina called me Anna Shcherbakova when my free leg is not turned out. She now yells,
at least she didn't call you what Simon called her, which is Shcherbakova. And I was like, oh my God, where have you been? Like, this girl has been winning everything and been such a mainstay on the scene for years. What is happening here? It's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Yes. I was happy for Tuktamysheva, even though, again, obviously limitations to what can happen there. But I mean,
I want her to skate shallow at the Olympics. I don't want to see any more of this. I want to see her doing shallow.
Mishin did it with her in the kiss and cry. And I was like, that man, just when you think you can't love him anymore. And he's like sitting there doing that with her. I love it.
Yeah, the ladies event, it's
tough. It was a big moment for Kaori. She made it all worthwhile for me.
It's okay. Yeah. The gymnastics for the last couple of days and the NCAA gymnastics. Okay. So I almost went to the University of Michigan when I was undergrad and they finally won in gymnastics. His coach, Suzanne Peter.
Is that the picture I see of someone hugging a trophy?
Yeah.
That everyone's like circulating? Okay.
It was 32 years that this coach has tried and they've won the Big Ten 28 times. And she finally won. And she's had the great teams, always kind of in it, always does like a great job. And this year, these girls on these teams were so freaking strong. And like her husband overcame cancer the last couple of years. I mean, it was like, wow. This performance.
Wow, what a story. I love that.
And they beat KJ, whose team is always prepared and delivers like Sambo 70. KJ and those girls from Oklahoma deliver at the national championships like clockwork. Like it is just like an army, okay? They are just like Republican girls storming that Capitol, one after another, after another, after another. Like and to beat them and see Michigan, like, wow, it was unbelievable.
Nice.
There was this girl, Sierra Brooks, and they were doing hard skills, okay? Sometimes, like when UCLA won, and we all talked about like Pang Lee, those girls were doing easier dismounts. This Michigan girl did the highest double back I've ever seen off a beam and just like planted it. And they needed her in this moment to come. Unbelievable. And then a Polish girl came and was just fat. Oh my, it was such a
nice.
Exciting. Okay. To beat KJ.
Wow, you're doubling up this weekend. To think after a year of so little events, now you had 2 in 1 week. That's so much.
It was exciting. Okay.
Okay.
I was yelling like when Anna Shcherbakova did that quad lots. Very excited. Anyone who watched Michigan and watched Sierra Brooks and then Natalie. Okay, my family has the last name and we call it Wojcik, but she calls it Wojcik. So I don't know. And I asked Bev about it once and she's like, no, they call it Wojcik. And I'm like, so we went to a Wojcik family reunion. It's spelled exactly the same. Like, what's going on here?
What nationality is it? Polish?
It's Polish for us.
Then it should be the V. It should be the V sound.
I would think, but like, maybe we're wrong.
I think.
I don't know. Like, and like, let me tell you, there are a lot of people in Massachusetts, like, for decades who've been pronouncing it the wrong way if we're the wrong ones. And that would be hysterical.
Well, it's like saying Wagner. That's wrong.
I know. Maybe we're wrong. It's true.
But I agree with you.
About it, like, it's like Vishnuvka. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be.
Because if you were to say Ashley Wagner, I mean, it suddenly has gravitas to it in a totally different way than Wagner. But I mean, it's become so Americanized that it seems.
We are just so Americanized, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're the wrong ones. That would be so funny. Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you are, Dave. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a V sound if you're going for authentic Polish pronunciation.
Yeah, well, no one kept up the language. They just kept up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And it like merges. It becomes a new thing. You know, it's now this version.
I mean, they're from Fall River, you know. Oh, they've got that accent going on.
Okay, see, so yeah, it's a long way from Warsaw. Yeah. Okay.
They are from it's Malopolska. It's anyway, funny. I'm sure we'll get a million comments. Hilarious if we're okay. Yeah.
Now we're on to pairs.
Now we are on to pairs. Let me tell you, Alexa and Brandon, I think delivered. Okay, better than words. Not perfect, but I think.
Do they do the throw Lutz or the flip? I can't remember. In the
First of all, it's counted as the same thing, but I thought they fell on a loop.
Whichever one they did, it was so killer at Worlds. So it was unfortunate to see them have a small issue with it here, because it was at Worlds, it was like unbelievable. It was the highlight of the event for me. So twist looks good. The side-by-side jumps are getting better. I know she had
they fell in the throw loop. Yeah.
Throw loop in the short. In the long, in the free rather, she did the loop no problem. And then it was the throw flipper Lutz that had gone so well at Worlds that didn't go as well this time.
I'm sure she will really appreciate how you memorized her mistakes in such a way. You are absolutely
but it was
no, I'm telling you, you are absolutely correct.
It was because it was such a moment at Worlds. I thought it was such a killer element.
Side by side jumps at Worlds that were not their friend. The Salchow here was not their friend. The toes were good. I think overall the vacation was just. I mean, they have a team that really. They got a lot of experience. They got the most out of this year with experience and
I think it was good that they didn't have to rush it. Again, for them, this all kind of fell into place in a way that is actually, I think, going to be okay for them. And now the goal is probably just to compete nonstop.
And of course, Simon compared how they're doing to how Alexa ever did with her husband. And I was like, oh, you had to go there. You had that. It was very.
No, but like, lest we forget,
everyone's
she was in the Grand Prix final.
Yes, I know. But everyone is thinking it. And he just like brings the one thing that you do not want to talk about.
Exactly. But I have to say, like, I think forward motion. Now, does she ideally want to be in sort of like a deadlock with the Italians and the Japanese team? No, I think they were looking to be considerably ahead of those two teams.
In terms of performance, I didn't really consider it a deadlock. Although, I think they showed that they were stronger. Just my opinion.
I have to say the Japanese pair has some incredible lifts, incredible ice coverage, incredible speed. They have some really great stuff going on. The Italians have really declined.
Are fantastic. They really do. Their side-by-side jumps, not the best.
Right.
I thought that they, Bruno has really strong pair elements. He just does really a nice job with the lifts, the death spiral, the real like pair stuff is a real strength for Bruno's school, I would say, especially this team really had that kind of Bruno Marcotte thing happen.
The lifts become a real highlight for the free skate for the Japanese pair. It was really exciting. And unfortunately, the Italians, who I always loved him so much for obvious reasons, but they have really declined, and it's tough for me to sort of be behind them. The material was always a little questionable. It continues to get more questionable. The side-by-sides are a little shaky. The pairs element, there's nothing that really keeps them in the conversation, I think. It's really tough.
Their aesthetic is tough too. I feel like we've seen these costumes a million different ways.
But done better, at least in the past. These were quite unfortunate.
The one thing, when I watch him, and I think he's fantastic, you do get the sense that he's a roller skater who went to ice. In terms of there are different nuances with the rise and fall of, there's just like a different feeling. And it does seem to have some sort of limitations in terms of their overall skating skills and ability. Just something to notice, right?
Just even in the way they do their crossovers versus when already as a new team, you see Brandon and Alexa just go around the rink, you're like kind of like, pairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a more forced quality to it. There are obviously some strengths from doing the technique with those heavier roller skates on. She also, makes mistakes, Nicole. So in that,
I always feel like they're like one notch from breaking. Like they just seem a little tired or a little injured or a little, it's a tough situation for them. But
Mishna Galyamov, especially in the free, I thought that was such a slam dunk, especially because she got a little off on her first triple sow, had to save it on the Euler and
did
second and did. And I thought like, wow.
Yeah.
Whether or not Taras and Morozov are going to work with eteri, not work with eteri, I thought, wow, this team, wow.
They're feeling good.
They're good, getting consistency happening under pressure. And
I was surprised he doubled in the short. That caught me off guard. But again, what's interesting, sometimes when we see other pairs do such big throws, and then it seems like the girls sometimes have difficulty landing them because it's seemingly, to my eye, it's too much height. But yet they get so much incredible height and trajectory, but she just lets herself, I don't know how she does it. Because it seems like a landing that might get away from another team. And even if she's just falling straight down from several feet in the air, she seems to just get it without a problem. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Tessa doesn't really enjoy the fact that they're using Esmeralda. Tessa was got admitted to the ballet in Canada. And,
yes, we've heard.
She just feels that, Anastasia Mishina, she just, I don't imagine her with the tambourine, and that's how the music is done in the ballet. I just don't get the character of the ballet from her in that performance. And, it's not. I'll link to, a variation of Natalia.
Not Demi Moore's representation as Esmeralda in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No,
the Disney movie. Okay.
Yeah. So, Tessa was a ballerina. I don't know if you knew that about her, but she.
I heard a couple of times.
As was Kurt Browning's wife. Did you ever hear about that, Sonia? She was in the ballet.
Yes, I sure did. In a fluff piece 10 years earlier.
Jenny also danced with the Boston Ballet, did the Nutcracker. You didn't ever hear that.
Oh my gosh. And Nathan skated to Peter and the Wolf one time.
Yeah, and he also took the ballet, and then we didn't hear about it until the Olympic season when all of a sudden they pulled it out, to improve its performance. And
exactly.
Okay.
Find me some footage to up that PCS. Hurry, quick.
Okay. Anyway, that got silly. Yeah.
So the Esmeralda, probably not what you're hoping they go with the short program for next year.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Fair enough, Dave. Fair enough.
Anyway, did you read that Bobrova article? Okay, speaking of, how about this? This is what I love about Russians. Plushenko and Raphael. Who's the bigger piece of work?
Well, it's interesting because you've taken away some of Plushenko's swagger in a coaching situation. Because now Raphael has more swagger because they're doing the thing Raphael is better at. If they were out on the ice skating a show, it would be a different story. But
how about how Plushenko says there's cooperation? Then Raphael says nothing is formalized. I'm just visiting. Then we take a picture and it seems there is cooperation, and then people
at least we're telling people, like we're showing it.
We also know Trusova's parents are constantly looking for a better offer. They've asked Raphael to coach her multiple times. So it seems like if there's cooperation, is this kind of like a backdoor in terms of Trusova eventually going to Raphael without eteri?
Why do you think Raphael wouldn't have taken her in the past?
Excuse me. Tell me, please. How did tutberidze take it when Zhenya went to Brian Orsera?
But that was Brian and Raphael. I think part of the reason everyone also gets behind Nathan is because they like Raphael. They consider him family, I think. They don't consider Brian Orser family.
If eteri feels crossed, do you think she considers anyone family?
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you have any friends in figure skating? Who is your friend, Jonathan? Who is your friend?
My owls. My owls. Yeah, that's I stay out of it.
Absolutely no one. Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. You think they are friends, Raphael and Eteri? I do not know if they are friends, right? But I think.
Okay. There was nowhere to move that would have been pleasant. Okay.
Waited until Nathan was absolutely untouchable. What could Eteri do to Nathan? No.
Yeah.
Short of hiring Jeff Galooly, what could she do? Absolutely nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants to coach Trusova now. Who cares, right?
Right. Right.
Is Trusova going to spend the summer with him? But I have to tell you, you think this is a smart decision?
Well, how much is he even going to be there? That's the thing with all these
Alina
cooperation.
She was like, it was a total trick question. She called me, what do you think about this? And I said, I think Plushenko has Mishin technique. Raphael has Raphael technique. They are different. You're very smart. It is like trying to have two women make a soup. One wants salt, one doesn't want salt. One wants pepper, one says no. And I was like,
it's legit too many chefs in the kitchen. I think it can be it can muddle her information, because I really think she was on a path to achieving a more Mishin-esque approach, and now inviting a third school of technique, because she's got clearly from whence she came. She's trying to do the Plushenko stuff, and now she's going to get a kind of a quirky Raphael approach. It would be so disorienting, I would think, to be her.
I could see her landing with Raphael after 2022 if Nathan, takes a break and she then would become his athlete. She's intimated that she wants to go on 2022, but I think for this year, look, Nathan changes that program all the time. Raphael is a more hands-off coach at times. So is he really going to prevent Trusova from changing the quads in her long program from competition to competition? I don't know that that's really his
But again, if he just plops into Russia for a week here and there to work with them, I don't think that can, as Raphael himself has talked about, you need that consistency. I don't know, would they do it? Why not send her to Mishin? That's it's so confusing to me, why there's not more cross-collaborating between Plushenko and Mishin.
Well, because maybe there's only one open spot for a non-tutberidze skater, if that, on the team. He's had Tuktamysheva for how many years?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you want to do with your life at 80 years old, to have that kind of tension. I just remember how well it worked when he had Yagudin and Plushenko together. They really loving each other, right? So much.
When it's interesting because Tuktamysheva, I guess, is so much more in the conversation now than maybe even they thought that she was going to be.
How much did Meryl and Tessa love each other in 2014?
Yeah. She's wearing a USA shirt.
How much do you love when your ex-partner posts videos of himself playing piano on social media on your piano in your apartment in New York? Does that make you uncomfortable? It makes me go.
I know. I get a lot of emails about it, or a lot of texts when it happens. I knew it was happening because I was in Philadelphia. But yeah.
Tell me, please, why didn't Raphael take Trusova?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Touche, Dave. Touche.
Why didn't Mishin take Trusova? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. But the Bobrova article, Dave, it reminded me of the Svetlana Horkina article, in where you want to give that girl a hug because it's the ideology. Why are you complaining about eteri? Why are you complaining about people that get physically and verbally and emotionally abused? I'm fine. I won. It gets results. So what's the problem? And you're like, oh my God, Miss Thing, please come sit with me and let me just hug you and tell you it's okay, because no result is worth that.
So how about where she said that every Russian was taking meldonium And then, which facts? Second.
Well, it was legal. Well, it was allowed. Yeah. But they were still taking it.
Do we have a pharmaceutical race of finding the next drug before it's banned?
Right.
The other thing, I love when the Russians tell us it's just a medication for the blood vessel for the heart.
Yeah.
So you know that I know an adult skater who's taking meldonium, who did it as an experiment. Oh yeah, taking it right now. Asked every Russian in the tri-state area about this. One coach allegedly told this person who's allegedly taking it, it's like for your head. So originally this person said, I don't think it's going to do much.
Because you can legally acquire it. It's just you're not supposed to legally compete with
extra, it puts like, the extra oxygen with the blood. And
so you can keep training longer. It doesn't make you stronger, but allows you to recover or something?
Yes.
Okay.
And you feel like a little bit more aggressive and you can train longer. So it may not, it's like the cumulative effects, but it goes out of your system a certain number of days, you have to stop taking it. So it's really the everyday and the training that makes you so much stronger. So if you were at a program where you had to do 3 run-throughs, 4 run-throughs a day, that would be a very beneficial track. Or if you had to do 14 competitions throughout the season, it would be a great track.
Right. I was just, okay, so let's talk it out. If you're doing that and you're Elizaveta that season, and you're getting your triple axel in, and you've competed at every competition that anyone has ever heard of and won it, then this makes sense. For the ice dancers, I was curious because she was the one that really was raked over the coals with it. I was sort of surprised, like, was anything they were doing technically so intense that they had to keep training longer?
It's hard to escape.
The overall speed would have been improved. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay.
Flying over the ice, that 1-foot footwork, come on.
And Soloviev, I mean, he's like the bionic man. I mean, I thought he was never going to be able to walk again after his injury, and he was in the hospital for so long, and then they did come back like gangbusters.
Watch Tuktamysheva before and after.
Yeah. It took her this long to get back.
Not at the same speed.
Right, that's for sure.
Remember how exciting the end of that 2015 program was with the Moo?
Right.
Like we were on a ride with her.
Right.
Didn't know it was pharmacological, but perhaps it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe her back.
But legal. It was legal
at that time.
At the time. Yeah.
But it just makes you wonder.
But it's just also, it's such
just
a result.
Just a vitamin.
Just for the heart. Yeah. It's a Flintstone vitamin, basically.
Yeah. It's basically.
Yeah. Chewable meldonium for kids. Crazy.
Not available for purchase in the US. Over the counter.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah. Okay. Because we know US skaters that have been coached.
Igor was so funny. We were talking to him and he's like, well, there's no real FDA in Russia. He's like, you want like hot cream here. He's like, it's warm. You get it there. And it's like, oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, for me, it just speaks to the fact that someone like Bobrova in the United States, that interview would have been so different. The headline would have been, former elite athlete admits to being physically abused in training. Mm-hmm. And hers was used as an excuse for other people to stop complaining. She was like, yeah, everybody's abused.
Excuse me. Do you not understand how upset people were in Russia when Kosternaya said that she smiled more with Blushenko? That she had to at least then correct that statement and said, well, I was smiling there, but I wasn't smiling on the podium. Now they were like, you ungrateful.
I know. I guess it's just that human quality that just makes me think, what is this for? For a Skate America win? Like, who cares? My God, it's terrible.
Anyways,
yeah.
Else.
That was a very eye-opening article, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Or interview rather. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Crazy. And what? Now the season is officially closed?
Oh, please! Don't you feel like it's just getting started? Come on.
Well, because now we'll start to get all those trickle of announcements of music and choreographers and all this sort of stuff.
People posting jumps on Instagram. We're going nowhere, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly.
Videos. We got stuff to do.
Okay.
This is...
But it was an end to this strange 2021 journey of this official season has now ended with the World Trophy over here.
Shit is about to get real. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're in like the advent of the Olympics. Here it comes.
Hold it, should look sexy, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.